Okay, so we are here for AEW Dynamite episode 2. Going to be trying something a bit different here. Going to be doing a bit of like a recap of the show. I just finished watching it. It's just gone off the air about 5 minutes after the fact. And yeah, I guess before we jump into things, I just want to talk a little bit about Hearthstone and how I'm feeling about that at the moment. Unfortunately, just with a lot of the recent stuff that's been happening, or the Blitzchung stuff, just a bit disillusioned, I guess, by Hearthstone. And yeah, it's just it's really hard to be motivated when stuff like this happens. Whether or not the game is fun or anything like that, it's kind of besides the point, I guess, at this stage. So, what I have been really interested in lately is wrestling. That's why I wanted to, talk a bit about AEW, talk a bit about the show, and maybe turn it into a bit of a regular segment. So, we'll open things up. So, this is episode 2 of AEW last week. Last week's Dynamite was the first episode, and it was tremendous. I think most people would agree that it was a fantastic show. Setting aside ratings and all that type of stuff, I thought it was really good. I ended up watching both the Dynamite show and the NXT show, and both were fantastic. So I'm really excited to see what they were going to bring to us this week. So we open up with Live from Boston, which I understand is a pretty good wrestling town. And Jim Ross telling us that it's going to be a Dynamite card. So opening up with a pun. The first matchup, we had the Young Bucks versus Private Party. This is, of course, part of their tag team tournament. Tournament that I think most people would probably have said Young Bucks or the Lucha Brothers were probably going to be winning that. And I think by the end of this match, we can really tell what direction they're going in. So we get a promo at the start of the match. Private Party says that they're an elite tag team, which I can agree with. The Young Bucks are trying to prove that they're the best. They're out there to prove that they're the best. And Private Party is out there to prove that they belong in AEW. So a really interesting kind of simple angle for a tournament. Makes total sense. Bucks come out first. Big pop. Crowd is really into it. There was a bit of a slight delay, I think, on their kind of pyro. They had this... not pyro, I guess, like they're kind of the Okada bucks, the money that just gets shot out of the cannons or whatever. Bit of a delay on that, but they showed SCU in the crowd and Angelico and Evans in the crowd watching, so kind of like that. I always liked in the New Japan, in like Best of the Super Juniors and stuff, when for that final match, all the competitors come out there and watch it. I like that vibe, and it was good to see that even though they were at ringside, they didn't interfere with this match, which I think is a big problem in other companies. Whenever you see someone on the ringside, you know that there's going to be an interference. So this was good. I really liked it. Crowd is really hot. Private Party get announced. Justin Roberts says that they weigh in at 24 ounces of vodka cranberry, which is that a lot? How much is an ounce? Ounce to milliliter. 1 ounce, 30 milliliters. So 24 ounces, 700 mils. All right. Okay. It's like a large can of vodka cranberry. Yeah. So another interesting tidbit, Jim Ross does mention that a draw in the tournament will result in a double loss, which is an interesting thing to set up. I wonder if that's going to play into anything later in the tournament. They set off trading holds. Nick misses a few super kicks and then spits his gum into, I believe it was Isaiah Cassidy's face, which is count 1 for oral fixation on this show. Especially last week, we also had a lot of gum spitting, a lot of spitting. And as we get through the show, you'll kind of see that this trend continues. Cassidy hits a moonsault to the outside. Honestly, Private Party, a lot of moves in this match. They all pretty much look good. I don't think anyone really missed a step. Some of the more interesting spots, Quinn hits like this series of 4 different dives, not just like suicide dives. Some flips and stuff in there. I'm not a flip expert, so not sure all the names, but he hits 4 different ones. He almost stacks on the second one, almost, but manages to make it. And then finishes it up with a 450, and the crowd really was into this one. And honestly, anyone who's kind of on that side of like, dives don't work or they're overdone or anything like that, I think this is a good match to watch to really tell you like that, people are into it, and what works. Crowd's chanting for Private Party, get cut off by a series of super kicks. Matt hits a sunset flip to the outside, and then like going for the sunset flip powerbomb, but it is stopped by Cassidy, and then he kind of struggles with him and eventually manages to like walk him over to the ramp and hits a big powerbomb onto the ramp, which was pretty good. They also have this great shot, kind of like from a boom camera, coming in, kind of flies over the ring, and you get to see in the background that on that ramp you get to see Cassidy wiped out, which is really good. I think that's kind of a nice use of different camera angles in order to tell the story of the match. All right. We get a tag team wrestling chant from the crowd, which is really good. I really like that. What else we got? Jim Ross mentions that when he first saw the Young Bucks, it reminded him of the Rock and Roll Express. And for all the young people out there, it reminds them to do a Google on the Rock and Roll Express, which, anytime I'm told to do a Google, it doesn't feel good. We get a kind of long period where Cassidy recovers from the powerbomb onto the ramp. Young Bucks getting the heat. Lots of cutoffs, including Cassidy being pulled off the ring apron. He gets the tag in finally. Starts selling his back, of course, because he's just been powerbombed onto the ramp, which is very good. Matt hits the locomotion suplexes and then hits a fourth suplex, the double suplex, on both guys, which is, I think, a spot that he's done in the last couple of tag team matches. We get the Fight Forever chance, and then finally Private Party hits the Gin and Juice, which is the corner Rana into a cutter. And the Bucks, the finishers, Bucks go for the Meltzer driver. It gets pulled out of the ring, and Quinn rolls up Matt for the upset victory, which is exciting. It's hard to tell if the crowd was really into this. Seems like there was more of kind of like a disbelief kind of thing going on. We'll see how this one goes. I think, obviously, with the events later in the night, we know exactly the direction that they're going with the Young Bucks, but this was a great start, great opening match. And I think they did the correct thing, not going into another match. Instead, we get a promo. We get a promo from Jericho. He comes out. Obviously, last week we had the formation of this potentially new stable, new group, which is Jericho, Santana and Ortiz, LAX, Sammy, and Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, of course. And so they all come out. Jake Hager in particular, looking like a dad. He's got this, I don't know, maybe I'm a bit wrong here, but yeah, he's got this outfit which is just, it just reminds me of, I don't know if you've had friends who have kind of, gotten married or gotten into a relationship, and they kind of just go completely off the radar. And then you see them, 5 years later, 8 years later, they've, had kids, they've become an adult, I guess, and they're just like geared up with like the collared shirts, lots of very neat sweaters and stuff. It's a very dad look, and I think Hagar is rocking it. LAX looked like they just came back from a fishing trip. Chris cuts the promo, says he is Le Champion. Last week's Dynamite was the highest rated TNT premiere. It's all because of him. Crowd starts chanting "Thank you, Jericho," and he tells them to shut up. Chris is going to introduce us to all of his friends that he's brought down to the ring. He calls Sammy a Spanish god. He calls LAX a pair of psychos. We get a big Eddie chant. Of course, I believe it's Eddie Guerrero's, or would have been his 52nd birthday. So we get a big Eddie chant when Chris says "Viva la Raza." We also get a really big "We the People" chant for Jake Hager, which Jericho immediately kind of shuts down. He says that, "We the People" sucks. It's dead and buried, and it was a terrible idea from bad creative, which was possibly the biggest pop of the night. The crowd really exploded for that. But yes, Jericho says that this group of people is his inner circle, and that is the name of this new faction. Is it a good name? I think it's fine. I think we'll kind of see where they go with it. But what I did find most interesting is that the people on commentary immediately mentioned that they need a shirt for that. Excalibur says, well, you can go to aewshop.com/inner circle, and there it is on the AEW shop on Pro Wrestling Tees. As it was announced, we had the Inner Circle t-shirt. I think it looks okay. Looks all right. It's a bit bland, but honestly, later on in the show we actually get to see the shirt. I think it looked okay. It looks better on people. It looks better once you see it on people. And yes, very shortly afterwards, the site did in fact. I think it crashed. I had a lot of difficulty kind of navigating through things. So I think there was quite a lot of people jumping over to the website to try and check out this shirt. And honestly, I think that's really good. I think it's this is what live entertainment is all about. We want people to be invested. We want people to be checking things out. And I think that they can say, hey, check this place out, and the site immediately crashes. Tells you that people are willing to click around. They're willing to interact whilst the show is going on. They're not kind of passively observing. Though I'm sure there are people who are passively observing. Next match was Jimmy Havoc versus Darby Allin. Two of the hardcore guys. They actually mention on commentary that these are people who don't want to be painted into a corner, that they're only hardcore wrestlers. As Havoc enters the ring, we get a little picture-in-picture promo from Havoc saying that he likes pain and violence. Commentary tells us the winner of this match gets a shot at Jericho. I'm not sure if that's for the title or not. It's something that was kind of a bit ambiguous, I think, throughout the night. As to, not sure if the winner gets a title shot, and especially how does that factor in with Cody, who is supposedly having a title shot at All In. Unsure about that, and that's, I think, a bit of a weakness of the show. I think I'd like to know exactly where things are going, and particularly if this is for a title shot. I don't like this, people getting title shots while there's one already set up. It feels really weak. Feels very much like the people defending their Wrestle Kingdom contract in New Japan, where it's never happened before, and it honestly doesn't feel like it will happen. People defending their Money in the Bank, people defending their WrestleMania shot after winning the Royal Rumble. It just feels very weak, and I'm not a big fan of it. So I'd like to see that stop. Anyway, we have this match. So Havoc versus Darby. Darby's match from last week on AEW Dark was tremendous. I think that was possibly the match of the show. If you haven't checked that out, you can go watch it on YouTube, of course. That's Shima versus Darby Allin. Havoc early on spits in Darby's face, so we have count 2 for oral fixation. And there's a lot of finger biting. He hits a big suplex from the apron onto the outside. Lots of Darby eating it in this one, getting beat down. Havoc's firmly in control. We had a sick-looking rolling elbow from Havoc, really nailed him. Double underhook pile driver as well. But seemingly out of nowhere towards the end, Darby hits a flipping stunner, and then the coffin drop for 3. It's an okay looking coffin drop. But yeah, I don't think this match was as good as the as last week's one from Dark. But I am excited to see Jericho versus Darby. I think that could be potentially a really, really interesting match. Hopefully it's a bit more than like what we saw here, which is Darby getting beaten down for quite a while and then hitting kind of a bit of a reversal. Hopefully they do something more with it, and I think they will. We go to the ad break, and it seems like they're starting to do quite a lot of shots of the crowd. In fact, in general, I will say that the camera work, it seems like a lot of lessons have been learned from last week. I don't think we saw any or many shots of the crowd, like reaction shots. I think the first show was partially weakened by them trying to get these crowd reactions, but not cutting to people who were not reacting at all, or just cutting at a bad time. You know, when we wanted to see the action, we wanted to see the aftermath and things like that. WWE do this, or they at least used to do this quite a lot as well, and it was the same kind of thing. It was just a bit like it never worked, or you know, maybe it works 1 in every 20 times, and it's certainly not worth the other 19 times to do it. But yes, during the ad break, they start doing crowd shots of a lot of the signs that are in the crowd, which is really good. The best one being, of course, this one, which says, "Kenny is a weeb." So I'm very happy with that. Kenny is, in fact, a huge weeb. So hopefully this motivates more people to bring signs. I do kind of like very witty signs, especially in this internet age, meme age. I think they're a lot better than the signs that used to be, but also hopefully we don't get to the point where nobody can see because in the crowd because everyone has a sign up. All right. Next we have the women's tag match, which was Emi Sakura and Bea Priestley versus Britt Baker and Riho. Bea's entrance gear looks great. I really like it. I like the purple. Commentary did a lot of work on hyping up that Emi is Riho's trainer, or was Riho's trainer. Quite a veteran. Coming out, of course, with the Freddie Mercury gear. I think she came out with that at Fyter Fest. Not sure. Though no mustache this time. Now, people have been doing a lot of complaining about, or I've seen a lot of complaints about the AEW women's belt. A lot of people saying that it looks really small. They thought it would be bigger. But when Riho comes out with this thing, she's actually got it, I mean, you know, on the back of the belts, they have all the buckles. Riho has got it on the innermost buckle, and there's probably like another dozen after that. So I think that this belt is probably a bit bigger than it seems. We'll have to see it on someone else, but it was very funny seeing the belt with so much extra left to go. I really like that. So we finally get into the match. We have big chance for Riho at the start. Get a nice Ramiro special from Emi Sakura, which I love to see. Love the Ramiro special. It's going to be sad to see it go when Liger's gone. There'll be significantly less Ramiro specials in my life. Britt Baker and Bea start brawling on the outside. Obviously, they're kind of trying to work on this feud. We even get a Thez press from Baker. Looked like she might have tweaked her knee, but I think she was okay. Match kind of started to slow down, unfortunately, at that point. It was possibly during an ad break. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell on Fight TV when they go to ad breaks sometimes. We get a double suplex on the outside. Riho hits a big diving crossbody from the top turnbuckle to the outside as well, which looked really nice. We get a few near falls, but Baker taps out Emi with the mandible claw submission combination. which is interesting. Baker and B brawl afterwards. I'm not really into this feud yet. I would have liked to see maybe someone, I don't know, go through a table, or someone just hit something big, because this feud really isn't progressing as fast as I would like it. Or, if it's going to be a bit slower, I want to see some more promos. Why are these two fighting? Other than, I think, B cost Britt a title shot. Look, give me the next thing. Let's see some dissing. Let's see something on BTE. Let's progress this somewhere, because right now it's not really, doesn't really interest me enough. So it wasn't a bad match, but yeah, we'll see what happens. And also, we don't have any direction for the women's belts right now. So we'll see. All right. Up next, we have a promo for the Best Friends up on the screen. Loving the double denim. It's very good. I think it's part of their kind of entrance. We cut back to the arena where we have an interview going on with the Best Friends. I'm not sure the name of the interviewer. It seems like there was a bit of a rough cut as well. Like the timing was a bit off. The Best Friends are there with Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy gives us the thumbs up. Crowd with a big reaction, and then the lights go out and we go immediately into Shawn Spears' entrance. Shawn Spears versus Jon Moxley. As far as the interview goes, I guess I don't know. It felt a little awkward. Like cutting to the arena just for this like one small thing. I get that AEW is not trying to do too many like backstage things. They don't like doing backstage stuff. They want to have it all out in the arena. But this does seem like something that could have been like a pre-recorded or a backstage thing. I'm not too sure that we needed to cut to the arena to do such a thing. But who knows? I mean, the crowd liked it, which is really what counts. So we have this Shawn Spears, Jon Moxley match. Shawn Spears coming out without any contact lenses on. Doesn't have the icy glare. We also have Park. Jeez, I was looking up how to say it. Park? They say Park on commentary, but apparently it's supposed to be Park. But I could be wrong. I'll have to ask Pastor Saucer how the proper way to pronounce it is. She's the only authority on Puck that I know. But Puck's on commentary. They cut to a break. It seems like they're kind of getting all the audio and stuff set up. Justin Roberts' introduction of Moxley was fantastic. He really belts it out there. I like it when they add a bit of an inflection to these introductions. We start off with quite a lot of intensity, a lot of like a bit of a beat down. I really liked it. Unfortunately, the commentary wasn't really in line with it. They were more talking about Pac, and what he was going on with. Whereas I feel like when you've got a hot start like this, you really want to kind of focus on the action. But Park is pissed that someone like Darby Allin is getting a title shot before him, considering his record. And that makes me think, does that mean that next week it is for the belt? So once again, kind of a bit ambiguous, not too sure. Crowd is really into Mox. Park continues to be a bastard on commentary. Throughout the match, Tully does get involved with it. JR's asking, why isn't it a DQ? Tully rams Mox into the stairs. Puck at some point did call the commentary team either goons or ghouls. I'm fine with either. Probably ghouls, I think I'd be happier with. We had a Death Valley driver by Spears into the guardrail as we cut to a break. Spears then grabs a bottle of water, spits some in Moxley's face, so we count 3 for oral fixation on this show. We get a violence party from Mox. JR says that should be a shirt, and I'm sure Super Dragon would love that. Ushigoroshi from Spears for 2. Good to see him doing that move. And then Spears goes for the perfect 10 pose. Mox grabs both of his hands, gives him a headbutt, and then hits the paradigm shift / Death Rider for the clean 3. Overall, it was an okay match, but what really made it was the conclusion, which is Omega coming out of the entranceway. One hand, a barbed wire bat. The other hand, a barbed wire broom, which is very good. They kind of face off. The crowd's really hot. They kind of start walking. Omega starts walking down the ramp. Moxley walking up to meet him, and Omega throws him the barbed wire baseball bat, which is really good. I like that there's kind of some mutual respect going on in this angle. But of course, before they can do anything with it, before they can start beating the heck out of each other with these barbed wired implements, these barbed wire things, Pac hits Kenny from behind with a chair, jumps up from commentary, and walks away. Mox is there, standing over Omega with the barbed wire bat in hand, but he drops it and walks off. So we're going to be seeing where this angle goes. I like the way that this is progressing. I like the thought that, Omega's such this, this perfect wrestler, but, he's not hardcore, and, having Mox kind of bring out the worst in him, bring out that hardcore nature. I think that whenever we do see the payoff for this feud, it's going to be good. It's going to be really good. Okay, the main event. Main event's next, and I think this kind of feels very similar to the last match, where it's an okay match, but it's really it's the conclusion that's really good, which is interesting. Interesting because I think a lot of people predicted AEW to be the wrestling show, rather than a storyline show. Although they have had very good storylines in the past, but I don't think I would have predicted it to be a show that's very much okay or good matches, but then great storytelling or great angles. But we'll still have to see how the payoff goes for a lot of these angles. Regardless, we have the main event, which is Hangman and Dustin Rhodes versus Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Jericho and Sammy both come out with the new Inner Circle t-shirt on. Looks quite good, particularly on Sammy. Hagar comes out with them. Not with the Inner Circle shirt on, still with his dadliest gear on, which I was very happy about. Dustin beats on Jericho for a while on the outside to start with. It seems like they have fixed the ring post cam. Last week it was I think it was between the top and middle turnbuckle, and we had one shot from it and it looked very bad. It was just the shot of someone's back. It seems like now it is on top of the ring post. We have this really nice angle of, I think it's Sammy in the corner, and Hangman comes in, hits a big clothesline. Looked really nice. I like that. I like getting these different angles. It's very good. Not as good as something like Riptide Wrestling. I've been watching a couple of their matches on YouTube lately, but still very, very good. I'm liking the innovation. Hangman hits a bridging deadlift pump handle suplex, which looked really nice. Sammy drops Paige on the top turnbuckle, which looked a bit brutal, and we go to the break. Inner Circle gets the heat. We get a standing moonsault from Sammy. Paige gets the knees up on a lion salt from Jericho, and then we get a sick lariat. Sammy goes inside out. And the crowd, I think at this point, it was when the crowd really woke up. He makes the hot tag to Dustin, who hits a few atomic drops, and then a really big crossbody. Seeing such a big guy going up to the top rope, hitting a crossbody on two dudes, it looked pretty good. Crowd really appreciated that. Paige then hits the moonsault to the outside. but Hagar wipes him out, finally getting involved in the match. Dustin sets up Jericho on the ropes. Hagar wipes him out too. Then Jericho hits the Judas effect for the 3. A really simple match. Of course, afterwards, the Inner Circle. It's starting to... has a good ring. Inner Circle begins the beatdown, as I assume this will happen for the rest of time. As long as this group is around, there'll be lots of beatdowns, as that's kind of Jericho's MO. And it's great, because as soon as this beatdown starts, you see everyone in the crowd, or a lot of people in the crowd rather, start immediately looking to the ramp, which is fantastic. I mean, it's wrestling. We know what to expect, but Hangman hits Hagar with a chair on the outside. Jake Hagar. Yeah, hits him with a chair on the outside, which looked really good, sounded really good too. And they kind of brawl off into the back, so I think that's probably where we're going to go with that. We're going to get Hangman versus Hagar, which could be good. Hopefully Hangman wins. Hangman needs to get a couple of W's. The lights go out, and people are wondering who it could be. Lights come back on, and Cody is in the ring in a full suit, of course. Faces off with Jericho, but of course LAX comes out, and LAX comes out, and they continue the beatdown on Cody. MJF runs out with a chair, and then of course they tease the betrayal. LAX is, I think Jericho's holding Cody up. LAX is there. They're kind of trying to get him to hit Cody with the chair, but he doesn't do it. And the crowd likes it. I think I really like that they're going to try and tease this betrayal for as long as possible. This is exactly how you do it. I'm very tired of seeing tag teams who get together and the very next week someone's already teasing a betrayal angle. Give me the long-term stuff. But yeah, MJF lays everyone out with some chair shots until Jericho hits Codebreaker, and then the Bucks come out to save everyone, and they start brawling with LAX, so it seems like that's possibly a direction that they're going to go with there. And that seems like a good angle, I think, with them out of the tag team tournament, the title picture. They can have a bit of a program with LAX. Maybe LAX comes out on top. They get a shot at the title. It seems pretty basic. And there's some good options to progress from there. Jericho, of course, bails after this with the belt, looking to go up the ramp. The Elite stand tall. But before we go off the air, we have possibly the best spot of the night, which is Jericho retreating up the ramp and Darby Allin coming down the ramp on a skateboard and just nailing Jericho, wiping him out. And that's where we go off the air. I think it was a good show. Couple of the matches none of the matches were bad. I think they were okay. It definitely, unlike last week, this week definitely hooked me in for next week. I want to see how this angle progresses. I want to see LAX versus the Bucks. I want to see what they do with Hagar and Hangman. Of course, we get the Darby versus Jericho match, which is hopefully going to be something very different. Hopefully we get a nice long match. I assume that some of these World Championship matches aren't going to have like a 20-minute time limit. And in general, I'm just keen to see some more Inner Circle promos. See kind of what they want to do with it. What kind of vibe they want to go for this group. How dastardly are they? Are we going to get some more merch for them? Are they going to be a big kind of merch seller? And yeah, so it was a great show. As far as what the TLDR would be, if you were just looking to skim through things, I would say check out the end of the Spears vs. Mox match. Check out the end of the main event there, and probably the match to watch would be the opener there, the Young Bucks versus Private Party. Lots of great spots. and a surprise finish, which is very good. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the recap from Dynamite. If you've got any questions, I'll probably be putting this up on YouTube, so feel free to chuck some comments down there if you've got any questions. Um, yeah, I'm keen to kind of experiment with the format and stuff like that. But yeah, until next time, stay safe, stay wavy, eat the rich, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.